Okay, in this video what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to properly sit with the guitar. I'm also going to teach you how to properly stand, so that way you'll understand your positioning of how your body is, as well as how each arm is, where the guitar should be in relation to you, and all this kind of thing. And for those of you who work out or do martial arts or in any kind of capacity are learning proper mobility, this is going to be a game changer for you. So really try to open your eyes to what I'm teaching, because this is all rooted in how your body is actually designed and how it actually works and moves. Okay, so let's get ourselves situated as we're sitting. I'm going to back up here so you can see my feet. What we need to do here is we need to organize ourselves from the ground up. Okay, so before we even think about our guitar or what our arms are doing, what I want you to think about is go ahead and sit on the edge of your seat, so that way your feet can be right in front of you, just right in front of your hips. And just go ahead and start in a position like I have here, where they're both straight forward, right? So right in front of your hips, facing forward, not sitting back, right? Back in our couch or our recliner or anything like that. This is going to trying to play like that when you're like slouched back is going to create terrible position. And a lot of people, when they start playing guitar and they're not using good positioning, after a while they start to feel this shoulder here, like something's going on there, it's not feeling right, and it's all from like bad positioning stuff. Okay, so this stuff is crucial. So starting here forward, where the weight is on our feet, what I mean by that is I'm already ready to stand, right? Whereas if I was sitting back in the couch or this chair or whatever, in order for me to stand up, I've got to scooch forward to put the weight on my feet and then stand, okay? So we're sitting here, we've got our legs right in front of us, feet facing forward, okay? Now what I want you to do is this right leg is going to stay where it's at, and this left leg is going to take a half step out at a 45-degree angle. So what I want you to notice here is that where my thumb toe is of my right foot is at the halfway point in the middle of my other foot, okay? And again, this foot is pointing out now at a 45-degree angle, okay? Now, what's ideal for the level here is you want this area of your leg to be flat, okay? So not elevated, flat, that's what I mean. Okay, so again, so now I've organized myself up through to my hips, right? So again, this leg is in a natural position. This one, I took a 45-degree half step out, okay? It's as if I'm ready to get up and spring in that direction, okay? And what you'll notice as you're sitting here is this starts to give you a little bit of forward tilt. Like I'm tilting towards you a little bit. That's okay. All right, now that we've organized ourselves in the bottom half of our body here, we need to organize ourselves with everything that's sitting on top of our hips and legs and everything, right? So go ahead and sit with your back straight. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to organize our shoulders here. So go ahead and take your shoulders, take them up, back, and then just let them drop down. Okay? You'll notice that you have more chest here now. So again, back is straight. Now I've organized my shoulders. So now everything is organized up through my shoulders, right? Notice my head is just straight, neck straight up. I'm not like slouching or anything, right? So again, my back is straight. My shoulders up, back, down are in place. This gives me the ability to, if I'm going to rock forward and back, notice I'm coming from the hips, not the middle lumbar of my back. I'm not breaking like that, okay? So, right, we've got everything in a good position here. Let's get this guitar in position with us now. So, just watch this for a second, and then you can mimic it. If I have the guitar flat against my body, see how it's just flat against me, right, like that. If I tried to play like that, watch this, watch my shoulders particularly. I had to turn into it. And notice I'm turned that way, my shoulders are no longer square with my hips. They're turned over here. This isn't good. All right, and this is what I'm showing you, so don't mimic this yet, okay? And so what I've done here is now this shoulder is jammed up, this one's kind of like extended out, like nothing's comfortable here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep myself forward. My shoulders are going to stay aligned with my hips, and I'm going to move the guitar. So one of the things I always teach my students is move the guitar to you. Don't move to the guitar. So many people get into this like kind of like slouching into it kind of thing, and you know you don't want that. You want to move this to you. So all right, we'll start with it flat against our body. You can jump in with me here. So now start to rotate it out. Notice this is basically against my hip here at the body of the guitar. So I just took that and rotated it outward. So this is out at basically a 45-degree angle now going that direction. And so now notice that when I'm playing or when I'm just sitting here in a normal position that my shoulders can stay squared, right? Again, I'm not turned. And then with the level of the neck here, go ahead. You don't want it to be like downwards. Like, try not to do that kind of stuff. What you want it to be is 45 and then up just a little bit. You see how I've got it angled upwards here? Okay? And so this is your position now. So again, move the guitar to you. Don't move your body to the guitar. Move it to you. So like now when I'm here, I've got this ability to easily reach the different areas of the fretboard. Okay, so this is our how to sit properly, okay? So the things you want to check, feet, right? You're sitting forward here. And again, it's okay to have a little bit of forward tilt even. And then getting those shoulders in place and then turning the guitar like this, okay? Get yourself a comfortable chair so that this feels good for you, right? And it's the same thing with an acoustic guitar. So now, let's look at what it looks like when we stand. It's gonna be the same thing, actually. Watch this. You're gonna like this. All right, so it's gonna be the same thing. Let me back up another hair so you can see all of me. So if I just start with my feet squared, and then I take a slight step out, again, that 45-degree angle step outwards, half step, right? So again, my thumb toe is still right where the middle of this foot is, okay? You can see that. Again, it's as if I'm about to run into this direction. And so check this out. Same kind of thing. So now the guitars are flat. It's angled out. See how it's coming out from this hip? And then it's upwards. So now you've got this ability to, you know, shred wherever you're at, even like move around and that kind of thing. You know, don't be afraid to dance and stuff, but this is your starting position. This is your position of proper mobility. This is going to save a lot of things. Like you're not going to have your wrist overextended and stuff like that. I see beginners do this kind of stuff all the time where their wrist is overextended because they kind of have the guitar flat, maybe they're slouching to it, and so then you see the wrist is getting out. So let me give you an extra added bonus here. Stay with me for another minute. The angle of your wrist, right, your fretting hand, flat is ideal, okay? Up or down, no more than 45 degrees, that's your good range, okay? You don't want this, you don't want the 90-degree, right? You don't want that, okay? Because just think about like if you're typing on the keyboard, what's that gonna do? Give you carpal tunnel, right? So this is bad, we don't want this, we wanna, right here, I think. This is a very natural stance too that we use in a lot of things. Like, for example, again, this might be how like I'm about to run, right? I'm about to go in this direction with something. It's also like a fighting stance, a basic fighting stance here too, as well as like maybe I'm digging or something like that, right? This is a very natural stance that we use. So this is the proper mobility here. Now, another question that I get a lot of too, I'll give you one last thing, is where do I put the thumb here? On this hand, on this left hand. So it just depends what you're doing, because if you're playing chords, like you see how I've got mine above, it's comfortable for that. In fact, it can help me mute some of the strings that if I need that low E muted for a particular chord, for example. However, one thing that I see when people do power chords, is that they try to keep that thumb up there like they would with a cord, and then it's terribly uncomfortable. They're trying to figure it out, all that kind of stuff, right? Or another one is like people might leave their thumb behind as they move forward. So the ideal position when you're doing a power chord is literally right behind where the finger is, the index, and then about halfway down the neck there. So here's my power chord. Right, so it's like that kind of thing. Okay, so just moving some around so you can see that I'm keeping it with me. It's actually just like a normal, if I was holding like here, right? So just like that. So you see how this thumb is still straight. Like it's okay if this is bent just a little bit, but yeah, the thumb is still straight. So you're, okay? So yeah, this is a lot of your proper mobility stuff. I've done a video before on how to properly hold your pick with proper mobility and how to pick. I guess, I'll tell you what, I'll give you one last added bonus. Let's just talk about that real quick, okay? So I'm just gonna go through this real quick. How to hold your pick is, again, curl that pointer finger in, put the thumb over it. It's essentially how you would hold a key if you're gonna put it into a lock. These fingers can be relaxed or they can be in. And then just take the pick, put it in there. I'm trying to hold there so you can see. Put it in there so that if my thumb is going horizontally, that pick is pointing straight down the floor. You see that? I've got like a 90-degree angle there. Okay? So that's how you hold. And then it's not coming past this index. In fact, it's kind of, the corner of it's kind of tucked up where the crease of this knuckle is. There's kind of a spot right in there that fits, that like almost kind of clicks into place, if that makes sense. Okay, so feel that out. That's your position, and then proper picking begins in the wrist. So if notice I'm coming from the wrist, my elbow's just hanging out. I'm not doing like a big like elbow movement here. So just come from the wrist. If I'm doing power chords, notice there's starting to be just a little bit of elbow in there, but right? But you can see I'm still coming from the wrist first, and that elbow just follows. It's the same thing with your chords. Don't just lock the wrist and come from the elbow. You actually, strumming begins in the wrist too. Even if you're somebody that likes to strum real big like this, it should be a conjointed effort between the wrist and the elbow. And if you think about, like, if you see how I'm doing it, I'm beginning in the wrist, and that elbow follows, okay? Usually when I tell my students, just think about coming from the wrist first, then their strumming is really good. And so I'm still holding the pick that way too when I strum. I'm not starting to come out with it, okay? That actually keeps it from like moving around, maybe going flying. I'm sure you've experienced all that fun stuff, so, all right. So this is the proper mobility of sitting, standing, how we're moving on guitar, this kind of thing. And I guess to finish the thought on like where that thumb's at, just think about the different things that you're doing, however you're moving around. Whether you're doing power chords, single note stuff, riffs here, getting up here, whatever you're doing, it's all just gonna, your hand positioning, your thumb positioning, all that just depends on what you're doing. So you need to find the place where it works the best. You have the proper, like the best positioning you can get with your hand. It's not doing anything weird, right? Overextended and whatever. You got to find the natural positions for the different things you're doing, okay? And be able to like just flow through that too. So don't just try to like hold one position for everything you do and then make it fit, right? Be fluid, be like water. And then the other thing too is it's just, try to find the path of least resistance where if you're feeling some excess tension anywhere, see how you can move around and release it, okay? You need to get in your body and you need to feel this stuff out, okay? So be mindful, be aware, be present, centered in yourself, and rock out.